Breaking news first right now on the WHAS11 team. We have new information coming out now into the fatal Givaudan plant explosion in the Clifton neighborhood. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us. I'm Doug Proffitt. A federal investigation showing that a pressure release valve failed to open despite the employees' several attempts to cool down a tank. The tank's temperature soared to nearly 400 degrees, itself blowing up and flying right through the air in the Clifton neighborhood, coming to rest. The U.S. Chemical Board, the Chemical Safety Board, releasing their investigative update just last Thursday. It's now coming to light. Here's the timeline of their new findings. The caramel coloring process began in the pressure cooker just after 10 o'clock that morning. Around 2:15 that afternoon, the temperature was set to 300 degrees. However, by 2:40, the temperature and pressure began to rise. Operators did notice this and attempted to fix it. At 2:54 p.m., just 3 minutes before the explosion, the pressure decreased before aggressively spiking again. By 2:57 p.m., the tank blew up. The board found the pressure rose to 3 times the normal limit, to temperatures of 385 degrees, well above the limit of 350 degrees. Now, right here, we're going to show you, you can see what an open pressure valve looks like, but this is what they found in the factory instead. Right here, this is from the investigative report. The pressure valve, which should automatically open, was found almost fully closed even after the explosion. These photos from the investigators, the 2 employees who died, along with 4 additional employees, were inside the control room at the time of the incident, trying to cool down the tank. As part of the Chemical Board's next move, they say they will be evaluating emergency response efforts. This developing story tonight. And now, right now, tonight, here from the night team. President Donald Trump officially directing his administration to pause military aid to Ukraine after that tense conversation right in the Oval Office. President Zelensky was asked to leave the White House shortly after the meeting without a deal signed. In the exchange, the vice president told Zelensky he should act more grateful for the help of the United States.
Not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III.
The White House told ABC News the president is focused on peace and needs partners to be committed to that goal as well. Well, also announced today, the president is keeping the tariffs on Canada and Mexico and even raising the tariffs imposed on China, all supposed to go into effect in just a few minutes from now, right at midnight tonight. Stock market plummeting after the news came out today. The Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ all taking big losses. 25% tariffs will go into effect for Canada and Mexico and 20% on China. The country's already vowing to retaliate by slapping taxes right back on American goods.
We are ready with $155 billion worth of tariffs, and we're ready with the first tranche of tariffs, which is $30 billion.
They can't come in and steal our money and steal our jobs and take our factories and take our businesses and expect not to be punished. And they're being punished by tariffs.
President Trump insisting his tariffs are meant to pressure Mexico and Canada to stop the flow of deadly drugs and migrants coming into the country. Less than 1% of the fentanyl coming into the United States last year came across the Canadian border. And we've heard from local Louisville companies these tariffs are going to hurt.
What we can hope for is some kind of stable international trade policy that results in mutual trade growth.
Speaking to us news since 6 o'clock tonight, Andrea Wilson with Louisville-based Michter's Distillery, bracing for the impact, but still hoping for the best. Well, the Canadian Prime Minister urged his country to stop buying Kentucky bourbon by name if the tariffs are implemented. And now the bourbon capital of the world is left waiting. WHS11 Night Team's Alex Dieterer and photojournalist Levi Hammer spoke with Michter's tonight about how they're trying to prepare.
No one's really sure what's going to happen.
Louisville distilleries left with questions just hours before President Trump is set to implement his tariffs after a 30-day delay. 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada imports and 20% on China imports.
The tariffs are easy, they're fast, they're efficient, and they bring fair.
When President Trump first announced these tariffs in February, Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau called on Canadians to ditch American-made products.
It might mean opting for Canadian rye over Kentucky bourbon.
The potential of retaliatory taxes on Kentucky bourbon, something family-owned Louisville-based distillery Michter's has been watching.
In many cases, inventory has been shipped in advance so that will allow time for stabilization and to figure out how things are going to be handled in each market.
President Trump said there is no room to delay the implementation of these tariffs. And for local distilleries like Michter's, there's no saying for sure what impacts could be felt on their products in the coming days.
International trade policy is complicated, and what's going to happen, no one knows. I think that demand for American whiskey is strong globally, and demand for Michter's is strong globally.
The tariffs come at a critical time, just 2 months after Louisville-based Brown-Forman announced it will lay off more than 600 workers and close its Louisville cooperage, marking a noticeable shift for the volatile Kentucky bourbon industry.
There may be some softening in the American whiskey industry and changes in trends, and those kinds of things are certainly happening, but I still believe American whiskey growth is strong and the opportunity is strong.
Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear is already warning of the impacts that will be felt in the bluegrass state, saying on social media, quote, "Tariffs on Canada will raise the price of gas. Tariffs on Mexico will raise the price of groceries. Tariffs on lumber will raise the cost of housing. That is an inflation trifecta that will be directly and solely inflicted by the federal administration."
Just try to stay focused, try to stay disciplined. We're not in charge of American trade policy, but that's what we can do.
The Trump administration remains confident that these tariffs are the best choice to increase government revenue. In Louisville, Alex Dieterer, the WHAS 11 Night Team, on your side.
President Trump also planning to roll out reciprocal tariffs in April that would match the rate charged by other countries. Right here, more local news. A 15-year-old girl was stabbed to death on Saturday night. Police say the 18-year-old boy they arrested and who appeared in court today allegedly stabbed her to death. The family of Izzy Verbeer said her and the suspect, Caden Sevier, were classmates and friends.
It's hard to find like a little sister, somebody that's younger than you, go so easily. By somebody that you wouldn't think that they could do that. Like, that was one of her best friends.
Sevier is charged with murder, domestic violence for allegedly stabbing Izzy at his home on Buckner Avenue in the Iroquois neighborhood. His attorney today told the judge that he's severely autistic and they're worried about him in jail. Izzy's sister told WHAS 11 News that Izzy would want her family to forgive Sevier.
She loves everybody no matter what happened to her. She wouldn't want people angry. She wouldn't want Caden's parents to be angry at him either.
Police say Sevier was arrested near the Value Market in the Iroquois Manor shopping complex. The judge entered a not guilty plea on his behalf. His bond remained at $250,000 cash. Taking a closer look, 1 in 3 teenagers in the United States will experience dating violence. Medical professionals are now urging parents to have a conversation with your teen about intimate partner violence when they start dating. Now, pediatrician Dr. Monica Arango says dating violence is about control, and there's a new aspect that's made the problem much worse.
Technology facilitated abuse. They are seeing where they are at, who you are at with, what kind of posts do you put online, who are your friends, what are you doing right now, why you haven't called me.
She said teen boys are also at risk. 1 in 10 boys will experience dating violence. She says if parents are in tough situations, showing their children how to resolve issues and leave toxic situations can also help break the cycle. If you or someone you know is in a dangerous situation, you can always call this top line around the clock. It is 1-800-799-7233 for Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Again, it is the hotline.org as well. You can chat online.
The people feel when they don't have fire protection, they don't have ambulances.
Right.
Happening tonight, this big crowd and full of firefighters. The Jeffersonville City Council hearing the proposal for a brand new fire taxing district. The $30 million proposal would fill a hole in services created by the fallout of the Jamie Knowles scandal. The plan would create a fire territory between the city of Jeffersonville and Utica Township. Right now, Jeffersonville Fire Department has covered the area on a contract with Heartland EMS is covering ambulance services. Utica residents came out in support of the plan during a public hearing last week. Tonight, right here, council members talked about it for the first time. The council president, Dustin White, called it an opportunity.
We'll be serving Clark County residents through, as we've always done when called upon, we will assist Charlestown and Clarksville. Everybody wins on this. Yes, there will be some budget adjustments, but in the long run, we will have a better service, both fire prevention and fire protection.
To pay for the contract, it would take local taxes away from some other Clark County municipalities. The council passed the first vote, and they'll vote again and possibly adopt it coming up on March 13th. From the Sky 11 drone today, construction on this very unique intersection in Louisville, one of a kind. It's Story Avenue, East Main, and Baxter Avenue, takes you into New Lou and Butchertown. It's set to be seeing big changes. City officials are going to remove the divider island you see there at the top of your screen to convert this to a traditional intersection with stoplights. That'll include curb bump outs and crosswalks for pedestrians. The city says the project is set to be finished by the end of June, so use caution when you're in that area.
We don't know if the cabbage will be bad or if it's infected with salmonella or anything of that nature if the FDA doesn't alert us, and then once again, we're at risk.
Brand new from the night team, a sense of worry looming over the Kentuckiana food industry as the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, Louisville branch, is listed for a potential shutdown. The Department of Government Efficiency, better known as DOGE, has listed several federal offices as options to cancel leases, shut down, and save taxpayer money. DOGE now listing 3 Louisville offices, one of which inspects our food and drugs across Kentucky. WHAS 11 Night Team's Jose Alonso and photojournalist Emma Gefter spoke with a local chef and U.S. Congressman Morgan McGarvey on how we could be impacted.
In the Republic Bank building located off the Gene Snyder and Brownsboro Road is where you'll find the only U.S. Food and Drug Administration office in Kentucky. On Monday, the Department of Government Efficiency, also called DOGE, listed this office space on its website, stating they could save over $100,000 if they canceled the office lease. According to Congressman Morgan McGarvey of Louisville, these actions are leaving Congress with questions.
So that's what we're asking DOGE right now. Who did you cut? What did you cut? What were they doing? What do you know about this? And again, they either don't know or they're not telling us. Neither one of those things is acceptable.
This has left food business owners like founder of catering company Auntie's Soul Food Sweets, Chef Lachey Calvin, worried about keeping permits up to date.
Sometimes if they're not fluent enough, I can go to them to speed up the process, or for just our semi-annual inspections, they come to me, but that's also scheduled. So once again, if I can't schedule with anyone local, then I have to wait or travel.
If the local branch disappears, then it leaves chefs like Calvin concerned about public health.
We have things like the bird flu that the FDA keeps businesses up to date on. It worries me to be able to give quality ingredients and quality food to my customers.
They're going after agencies that are protecting us, that are keeping us safe. They're firing employees they don't know where, whether it's in our nuclear arsenal or whether it's even food inspectors that we rely on. So what we're asking for is transparency.
Calvin is also a mentor at the Western High School Culinary Magnet STEM program, which teaches kids about careers in food. I asked her if this timely situation will be something she discusses with these kids.
And so it's very, very important to let them know, like, hey, you guys, pay attention to what's going on in the world if this is your career goal, because this can and will affect you possibly later on in the future.
The Louisville FDA branch serves a lot of functions within the state, like enforcing laws and inspections. And now the fate of where these responsibilities will go is left up in the air. Jose Alonso, WHAS 11 Night Team, on your side.
Also among the cuts, the National Weather Service and National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. At Louisville's office, John Gordon took the federal buyout option.
I got an incentive package. So people take incentive packages, so they're going to pay me through September, and I'll have a lot less stress.
Gordon joining us at 5:30 tonight. He was the longtime director of the local office. He's among federal employees at local National Weather Service offices where day-to-day forecasting and weather warnings are sent out of. Many of those meteorologists were laid off nationally. NOAA is expected to see 2 rounds of cuts, the first about 500 people, the second at about 800. That's 10% of their workforce.